I know that Green did ours. We can ask another LSP if they don't like either of those, but I'd suggest that we use an LSP because we can then follow, and it will answer the question of who's testing it, what are they testing, and did they get what they were supposed to get? And I think that fits everybody's.
Your idea makes perfect sense to me, except for the fact that Mr. Connolly's not here. And that's why I took the baby step of using an enforcement order to say, test the wells. It's simple, it's cheap, and it's quick.
Yep.
And I think if we're going to order that an LSP be brought on, he needs to be here. Because whether the town pays for it, whether Mr. Connolly pays for it, if there's some proportionate sharing of costs, I think that's significant. I'd also like to hear recommended LSPs from the town and from Mr. Connolly. So I don't disagree with your point. I mean, ultimately, that's probably the way to do it. But because we're trying to speed the process and get more data for our consideration, I think the simplest and quickest and cheapest way is to just test the water.
Well, in conjunction with that, and understanding that you don't want to make that decision without him being here,
Right.
can we ask him to provide a list, a short list, 3 or 4 LSPs that he would be willing, and then we can cross-reference with the town, and hopefully come out of that meeting with an LSP that we're willing to proceed with.
Sure, but that's March 10th.
Right.
Right.
I know,
If we
but
issue
I
an
would
enforcement order, we can say, test the water tomorrow.
Right, I know, and I think we should. I think we should go in with the goal of going to the March 10th meeting, knowing what the condition is in the ground, but at the same time, to make progress on the path of the
Oh,
water.
do them both, okay.
Let's just say, yeah, we'll say, test the water, bring that information to the next meeting. And at the same time, we'll say, bring a list of 3 or 4 LSPs that you're willing for us to proceed with, and we will select one. And whether it's a limited scope just for this portion of the evaluation, or whether that person becomes someone who is involved for the life of the project, that's beyond the discussion. It's really, we're looking at this little piece, and maybe that gives them a leg up or not, based on their performance. Is
Okay.
that
That's great. We do 2 different things.
2 different things?
All right. Is there a consensus?
I
you want
agree.
to
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that right? Because a lot of this, because we're in public session and it's on the agenda, I think we're duty-bound to discuss it. But, the original motion was for a continuance, not a motion, but a request from Mr. Connolly. So I just don't want to do anything that would put him at a substantive disadvantage. And I think we could vote for an enforcement order and then agree to send him a letter asking him to provide, 3 LSPs.
But I don't
And
want the
suggestions
town,
as to the
I
scope.
don't want the town to be at any disadvantage either. So Bill, would that work in terms of your coordination? Does it matter?
That's fine. I mean, he can choose whoever he wants for his LSP. I did have a question on your,
Although his LSP, we have to be careful, this is going to be our LSP. The applicant has to pay for it, but they
He works for
respond to us.
Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts?
I'm
But
sorry,
what were you going to
what were
say,
you
Bill?
saying?
Yeah.
I did have one. You used a number of tests because of the groundwater wells.
Correct.
You said there were 6.
Well, I think some number of them were inside the foundation.
There you go.
Nobody's going in there.
There you go.
I get that.
There are 6. 4 of them are outside, and 2 of them are inside.
No, I agree, just the outside. ones.
Just outside.
Yeah.
Just,
You
Good
put it away.
clarification.
With now 8 feet of snow on the roof. Nobody should go in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I've been in there and I don't like it.
All right. So are there any comments or questions from abutters or members of the public? Hearing none, is there a motion to issue an enforcement order to test the wells that are outside the building?
Prior to the next meeting,
With the results to us?
with
prior
the
to the next
results
meeting?
to us prior to the next meeting, and ask Mr. Connolly, or direct Mr. Connolly to come to the next, or provide prior to the next meeting, 3 or more LSPs that he is comfortable with us proceeding with. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Done. Unanimous. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Conley. So that was 3 is continued to March 10th
Bill.
at the request of the applicant. Next on the, and Kathy, do you have a copy of this request from the applicant from Steve Conley? All right, next on the agenda is 693 711 Randolph Avenue, continued hearing. Good evening.
Good evening. You guys all set?
Yes, sir.
Jim Burke, DeSalle Burke and Associates, representing Mr. Holland here in a development at 693 711 Randolph Ave. Tonight, we're just kind of here for informational purposes. We walked the site about 2 weeks ago. There was no snow on the ground, and trying to determine a path for some soil testing.
Aren't any wetlands?
And, well, we came up with a, yeah, no kidding, everything's covered. But,
Thank you.
just like I say, a couple of handouts that shows you the equipment that we're proposing to use and the path of which we're gonna go about doing it. I've got 8 test pits proposed for groundwater and soil determination for stormwater. We're proposing to access the area over by, right behind, there's a large yard garage, big building running right about here. Behind that, the fence stops and allows us to kind of scoop right between the two 25-foot buffers and head right up the hill.
You mean coming in through the town
Town
DPW
yard.
yard? Okay.
I have a letter made out, and I met with Joe Lynch, Director of Public Works. We discussed the access. He said, write me a letter. I gotta bring it up with the selectman. He's gonna meet with the selectman on the 2 weeks from last Thursday, so I believe next Thursday, to discuss it. That's when we're gonna have the opportunity to have access and start our testing. I don't anticipate them having a problem. Joe doesn't have a problem with it because we're outside of any sort of operational areas that he would have a concern with. So I think he'll support us at the selectmen's meeting, but until we hear from that, we won't have a definitive answer whether we can access through this area. We walked it, we can avoid all significant trees. You know, I wanted to come in through this direction at first, but the terrain seems a little bit tough and, you know, made it a little bit more tougher with regards to some of the tree placements and the like. So this is actually a little bit wider as well. I have a sketch here that kind of shows you why I chose these locations.
Just take a step back, give us a
Sure.
big picture. The test pits are for what purpose?
Stormwater, to make a determination of the soil's capability of accepting stormwater recharge.
All right, and are you identifying certain areas to do the test pits that conform to your recharge areas?
Right here.
Okay.
And you'll see the yellow represents our stormwater retention, and the red pits are where we're proposing it. We have hired a geotechnical engineer that will be attending these soil testing, Nick Laney out of HML Associates in Hingham. We're also proposing to do 4 borings across where the bridge connection is. And Nick will be running the show on that as well. We've got New England boring, is that correct?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire boring. Coming in, and he walked the site with us as well. There was snow on the ground then, and he didn't seem to have a concern with getting his bombardier rig in there to take care of it. So, and again, no trees. We can access all areas, move in, move out, around, and we won't have to clear any trees.
Is it a day's worth of work? I mean, he's doing it,
I
Or
see,
is
personally, the test pits alone, the way I see it, we'll backfill as we go. Getting out there, I think will just take a half a day all by itself, just to, you know, maneuver it. And we'll probably get, I'd say, 1 hole dug on the first day. And once we get that going, we could, once we get up there, we'll be able to move a little bit quicker. I see minimum 3 days.
The borings is a separate operation. That'll be like 1 day in the wetlands.
Right,
for the,
1 day.
For the borings.
I'm just thinking about the equipment. You get it out there, you're gonna leave it sitting out there
Yeah.
for 3
Yeah.
days.
The majority of the test pits are outside the
Right.
the buffer.
Yep.
It's, getting through, the wetland area.
Jim,
The
the number
buffers,
of test pits again was, number of test pits?
8,
8. So,
minimum of 8 right now.
thank you.
Off topic a little bit, but
Sure.
just by way of housekeeping. Kathy, did you have a chance to give Mr. Holland the letter? Okay. And just so the commission knows, we had voted to deny the application under the bylaw at our last meeting, and within the 21 days, we served that denial. This discussion tonight is under the wetlands, the State Wetlands Protection Act.
Correct,
Good? Okay.
Now, you're saying a minimum of 8,
correct.
but how many as well, possibly?
I'd say, let's say, it's anticipating the soils. If the soils start to change, in a sense, if I have like gravel here and I have
Right.
till here,
You have to go to
I'll want to put another one in there. So, I'd say maybe another maximum of 4.
But not within the wetland at
No,
all?
not at
Nothing
all.
at all?
Nothing
Okay.
at all.
But it's all within the chamber zone, right? It's all within
Yes.
the yellow zone.
Exactly.
100%. Do you plan on, you don't plan on doing any test pits along the foundation wall at the edge of the wetland? Because that's a significant structural potential.
Not at this time, and, I gave the plans to my geotech,
Yeah.
and he may have a different opinion.
Which foundation wall?
The big one that's overlooking the wetland,
I'd say the one here.
the bigger
To
one
the
that's
right.
along to the right.
The long
Along
one.
here?
Yes.
That's the
Okay.
big one.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, because I don't think, we had a discussion at the last meeting, but I don't think I saw the plans of your moving the snow removal area.
Oh, unfortunately, I didn't bring them with me tonight. But we did, we've made some revisions, and from, as we discussed last time, we were just waiting for the right opportunity to submit the plans, and now it sounds crazy. No, it's not that, it's just I'm trying to keep the number of revisions down to a minimum. I'm expecting, a peer review to come forward. But like I say, I have no problems, releasing, I can get you a set of drawings for the next meeting in March, so you can take a look at that.
Okay. Okay. I didn't mean to distract you or interrupt you.
No?
Do you have more?
No, that's it. Like I say, it's information for you guys, I didn't want to go crashing in there and you guys find out about it later on, so.
When do you anticipate doing this?
Like I say, I would expect the borings could be done as early as next week.
With the snow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Probably
says he
better.
could, he
It's
says he
better.
could
Probably
do
better
it.
with that.
Yeah, it actually
Cold
is. I
ground.
mean, the
Frozen ground?
yeah, frozen ground, and actually, the snow will actually float a little bit. It might be tough getting through. I don't know how much it'll sink. There's not a lot of pressure, pounds per square inch on that rig.
On the rig.
Yeah, but it certainly will compact the snow. But yeah, I would expect the borings to be done next week, and I would expect the test pits to be done probably the first week in March, given, depending on what the selectmen do.
So
Might be the last week in
we
February.
probably could have the results from the wetlands area before the next meeting, but we were waiting on the approval from the town for the test pits. I don't know if we'll have that before.
Yeah, like I
the
said,
10th or not.
by the end of next Thursday, I asked Joe, okay, so we get approval from the selectmen that night, he goes, you can go in Friday. I would probably anticipate going in Monday, and give us the week to just kind of finish everything up. And I don't know if we've talked to the schedule with the site contractor yet, but that's what I anticipate.
We
I
should
think
have
that's the last
borings
week in February.
information for the March meeting.
I think
Yeah,
we can. I think
we'd
we can
have the
boilerplate.
information,
Right.
right, and whether I would have to change, I don't think I'd have my drainage changed if I had to at all. If I like I said to my client, I go, the only way it's gonna change is if it'll get smaller, it'll become better, because I've made an assumption that the soils are poor. So if they turn out better,
Right.
then you guys will know. So,
All right. Any questions?
Yes. What about the vernal pool?
We,
Are we gonna have them hire Mr., whatchamacallit, Barrett?
Yeah, we did talk about that. And I did not call him, so I guess that one's on me, to see whether or not that can be done. Is that the consensus, that you can take a look and give us an estimate? I mean, I know there was a discussion with your
Yeah, we-
bodies, who said you have to have defined.
and
boundaries.
Scott did a research on all the information from the ANRAD process, including the information from Liddy, I think his name was, the
Liddy.
gentleman you guys hired.
Yes.
And there was no evidence of vernal pools, and I know Scott's preparing a document for that, and I'm sure it'll be ready for March 10th, outlining the data that was collected at that time and why he believes there's not a vernal pool out there. However, it doesn't preclude the fact that you guys would.
So you wanted to contact Matt?
Would you call him?
Byrne?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Fantastic. And I think the issue is gonna be whether or not it's a defined area.
Correct.
What we're talking about, what Greg was talking about, is a rather large diffuse area where water gathers.
Yeah, but we discussed at the last meeting was that a defined area can occur within a larger diffused area.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we talked about that.
We're really talking about down toward the bottom right-hand corner,
Correct.
If I'm not mistaken, it was over
right in there.
Yes.
That's right,
Right.
exactly.
Was there, that's my recollection as well, but was there something there that implied that might be, that something might be happening there?
One of the neighbors, we're talking about the wood frogs.
Oh,
Under there, the
Right.
peepers.
okay.
Mr. Lovato,
Right,
is that his name?
Yes.
that's correct. Any questions from abutters, members of the public, citizens? Hearing none.
See you March 10th. Can we have yes, we request an extension to March 10th.
Thank you. Okay. All right, perfect. Thank you very much. And Arthur,
I will, I'll call him tomorrow. No, Thursday.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wednesday's gonna have the
All right, next on the agenda is notice of intent, 395 Hillside Street. It's 95. On the agenda, is it 75 on the?
No, 395.
It's 395.
Got two of them.
We've got two. We've got 395 and 375. There are actually two of them. 395, all right.
I'm looking for Marion. Did anybody see her go out?
Yeah, she's been here. Any thoughts on our vernal pool on it, Eric? No problem.
Hey, can we take a recess?
If they're wood frogs there, it's a vernal pool. If they're peepers, not necessarily.
Pardon?
Wood frogs are obligate vernal pool breeders.
Wood frogs,
Yeah, and you know, to find them now, you can't. You have to wait until April, and then you have to see if you hear the quacking, that they sound like ducks.
We're taking a recess for a couple minutes, just until John
Do
gets
you
back.
mind if I sit here, or do you want me to?
No. Yeah, I'm just saying that we're not really talking until John gets back.
Yeah.
No problem.
business.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so
Tom,
I can-
you know, this site on Randolph Ave, one of the neighbors thought that in this area, you know, so this is Randolph, these
Yes.
are all the little houses. Somebody thought right around here that they'd heard wood frogs.
And we're back on the record, and we are addressing 395 Hillside Street. Would you introduce yourselves, please?
Hi, I'm Tom Palmer. I think I know many of you. I'm the wetlands consultant for the owner, which is Hillside Street Realty Trust.
Thank you, Tom.
My name is Milton Tremitzis. I'm the project manager working for the owner as well.
I'm Jeff Kane, a civil engineer with LAL Engineering Group, doing the design for the septic system for the project.
And I'm Mary McKettrick, and I'm the attorney representing Mr. Rubin, who is the trustee for the trust. And most of the talking tonight is likely to be done by Tom, who's doing the environmental analysis. I just wanted to explain very generally, which I did in my letter as well, that this project is a reconstruction renovation project for the garage or the barn at this property. It's a 12,000 square foot lot, so it's a small lot for Hillside Street. And both the house and the barn are historic structures. The house is about 1870. The barn was probably 1918, maybe a little bit earlier. And they both look pretty much the way they did originally. So the owner, who does not live here and only uses this house from time to time, mostly for family gatherings, wants to add a bedroom and a bathroom, but does not want to change the architecture of the house and the barn. So he has chosen to propose a bedroom and a bathroom in the garage or in the barn, which was large enough for a small bedroom and bathroom, and to leave a parking space in the garage. And so the project requires a number of permissions. We've already been to the Board of Appeals. They had to grant a variance for this project because it's a change of use and because it's living space in the garage, which is not allowed by our bylaw. And there are conditions on the special permit that there can never be a kitchen in the garage. It can't be used for additional rental space or anything like that. I don't have a decision yet because it takes them a while to write their decisions, but they have voted to approve it for the variance and special permit. This now is before you because on this 12,000 square foot lot, which has an intermittent stream along one edge, to work on the barn at all, the Conservation Commission has to be involved. There's some work on the foundation of the barn, but also the proposal is to add a porch to the back of the barn, and the porch would be partially within the 25-foot zone. So we're here to talk to you about the project. Tom's going to explain his analysis of the site, and we want to get feedback from you. And I just finally want to mention that the reason Jeff Kane is here is because this house has a septic system. And in order to add one more bedroom, more capacity has to be added to the leaching field. The system was put in 1999. And in order to do that, Jeff will explain what has to be done. You have to redo the bed of the leaching field. It apparently doesn't have to be any bigger, but it's going to be done somewhat. The technology is a little bit different. The water that will, what will come out of that leaching field will be cleaner than what the original system could do. And it will occupy the same space, but the area has to be dug up in order to do the work. So that also is within your jurisdiction. And it has to be a pipe from the garage up to the tank, which is connected to the septic system, and that will require digging the earth up between the house and the barn. So I'd like to ask Tom, if that's okay, to explain the analysis he did of the property, and obviously you're not going to be able to look at it right away because it's too snowy.
One clarification, it may be my
Sure.
ignorance. The leaching field is under the driveway,
Yes.
and driveway's in front of the house, but I couldn't find the driveway on the map.
It doesn't really show.
It's a gravel.
Yeah, on the survey. Since it's gravel, they didn't really give a change of area, so to speak, between the lawn. If you want, it comes in as a V shape here, and it comes down right to the front of the barn, and kind of comes back out just on the outside of that septic tank.
Okay, so it goes up.
It kind of
So
has
you-
two entrances.
Horseshoe. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. And then so there's a small vegetated area, probably right where the D-box is, just to kind of protect that.
The driveway is gravel, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All gravel, no bitumen.
Has it always been gravel? It's not gravel on top of any pavement or anything?
From what I've seen, no, it's just stone down, gravel, there's a, you know, fine stone, but there's no asphalt that appears to have been there. I haven't scraped it off to find out, but I find it very tough to, believe, since we have the septic field right underneath the driveway, so there'd be no bituminous there, or any reason to have
It's not a
bituminous.
mechanic,
No,
whoever put down the hot top, then.
no, it's just a gravel, it's just a gravel, maybe some stone, that's it mixed in, but nothing like that, no solid
Date
top,
on that.
nothing that would prevent venting, since you wouldn't
Yeah.
make it do that.
January 27th, 2015.
Okay, this is the one, we've got some difficulties, I think, with the plans, because we've got 3 sets of plans. This one doesn't have the driveway. The first one filed doesn't have the septic system.
Yeah, that's why, what I started to explain to you is when we filed the NOI in January, we hadn't had the evaluation done yet of the septic system. We didn't know if any work was going to have to be done. So the NOI is going to have to be amended because there is work that has to be done to dig up and then replace the leaching field in front of the garage. And we have a proposed septic system repair plan or reconstruction plan, but the Monday meeting of the Board of Health was canceled, so the Board of Health hasn't looked at it yet. So we thought we'd be coming to you today with feedback from the Board of Health saying, yes, this looks pretty good, we think we can work with this. We can't tell you that until the 23rd of February when they meet with us. So what we're here for tonight is to talk about the site, the construction work, and we'll show you the plans. That's what we put up on the board there for what we think we're going to be doing with the septic system, which is the same location where it is now. But we will not be able to show you a plan that's been approved by the Board of Health tonight.
You were gonna send this plan to us prior to this meeting? Because I haven't seen, this is the first time I'm
We
seeing this
just,
plan.
yeah, we just got this plan.
But if you could send us that plan just so that we can look at it for
Absolutely.
consideration and comment, rather than waiting, it'll prime us to be able to resolve, hopefully put everything on the table sooner.
We can send copies of it to you. Do you want a larger size?
Yes.
Each one of you want a big size?
I would,
So you
and I'd
can
like
read
the
it?
driveway added as well,
Oh, okay.
just so that we understand where it is relative to the field conditions.
Fine, okay. Can you do that? Can you add
I
that?
would
Or do
talk
you
to,
need
we'll
we
get
need
the
site
surveyor to
plan?
update that,
Surveyor
just go out
can
and do that, and then we can just update the
Thank you,
plan and get
okay.
it.
And on the plan, we want to be sure, this just may be translation, but I don't know if this is a moving target or not. I don't think it is, but the project description in the notice of intent is different than, at least in your letter, Marion. You've got a project of 7.1 feet by 16.5 feet.
You're talking about the dimensions of the porch?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's 7.8 feet and 13.9.
Yeah,
So
we're
they don't
gon-
match.
That's because I was reading different, yes, that needs to be confirmed as to which it is. I asked Kathy to put the larger description in the ad, just because I wanted to make sure that we weren't advertising less than what we're trying to build on. So Milton's gonna, I don't know if I've even talked to you about this, Milton, but you do have to confirm what the actual measurements are for the porch, including the stairs, right?
Yes.
And I think Tom has a calculation for that too in his presentation. But we will give you a confirmation of the area, whatever it actually is.
Can you hold on a second?
All set.
And we'll give you a plan with the driveway, showing the driveway and the proposed septic system. What you're looking at now.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, I did send a letter that Marion made copies of, a report on the site. I was invited to participate by Milton in December, and I went to the site early in December when there was no snow and flagged this stream. Curiously straight stream. And much of the upstream portion of this stream is on the adjacent property 395, 375, I believe it is, yes, who is here tonight as well, I believe.
What did you call it?
I call it a stream, an intermittent stream. And streams aren't naturally so straight in our part of the world. Why is it so straight? It's been channelized. It's been straightened and deepened, and it is quite a rapid stream, true. It drops 15 feet from Hillside Street here to the last flag here where it goes through a gap in a stone wall. And it's noisy as it goes through. The water is moving quite rapidly. Some people may remember that this house was once owned by a former member of your commission. Quiz, who was that? Old timers?
Eleanor Anderson.
That's right. This is Ellen's house. She used to tell us over and over, there's trout in this brook. We never believed her, but some of the old plans do call it Trout Brook. I haven't seen these plans. Robert Mosey mentioned one. At any rate, we do know that further down in what I call Unquity Bottom, where the stream is more permanent, yes, there are trout because the people from DFW came out this summer and I went with them to electroshock, and we found lots of brook trout. The largest one was 19 centimeters, not very big, but we found them much further down on this side of the wetland where that small little clearing is, where there was a horse jumping area there, and where that small pond is. They call it Secret Pond or Lost Pond with a little dam on it. Down that way, geologically, the Blue Hills are rocky and they come out this way, but down here there's big sandbanks where the Unquity dump over here is built over sand. There's more sand further down the slope. That sand absorbs the rain, it lets it out slowly, and allows that brook to be perennial further down. But
why do you call it intermittent there? Of all people, I would expect you to be the disciple preaching about perennial streams.
I've been involved in a dispute that's gone to adjudicatory hearing in Walpole about this question of intermittent versus perennial. And it is a difficult thing to answer. DEP has sort of punted the whole question by saying that if a stream has a watershed less than a half square mile, it's intermittent. So to use a legal term, they are saying the definition is de jure rather than de facto. In other words, they say, we don't care what the actual behavior of the real world stream is, as long as the watershed is less than a half square mile, it's intermittent. I don't agree with that approach, and that's what the dispute is in Walpole. We have a stream that's full of trout and is fed by a very large aquifer. So even though the watershed is small, it's perennial, and we've been trying to prove that.
I got to tell you, Tom, this goes back 20 years, but back when Eleanor and Roger Craig had an option on the land across the street, adjacent to 372, we had some pretty strong findings that that area on the 372 side was the headwaters of the Pine Tree Brook.
Yes, it is Pine Tree Brook. Do you have indications that it was perennial, and what were those indications?
We didn't get into it.
Yeah.
The problem was the pool.
I see.
Way back in the woods.
Yes.
Discharging backwash.
Right, I remember
headwaters
that.
of the Pine Tree Brook.
Yes, I've
and
stumbled on that.
everybody agreed that those are the headwaters.
Yes.
So we never got into the issue of whether or not it was perennial or intermittent. Nobody cared at the time.
Right.
But we sure care about it now.
Yeah, well, if you look at the last thing that was in my letter, did you see that last, the stream stats report? There's a graphic portion and a map portion. The map portion, and my printer ran out of blue, but this shows the watershed. The watershed of the stream above this site, which is this shape. And if you look at the next, the table section, you see the drainage area is 0.28. So in the DEP's point of view, it can never be perennial. I don't personally agree that, but the riverfront regulations say, they define what's a perennial, what's an intermittent stream, and they say if it's less than 0.5 square mile, it's intermittent. Here you have 0.28. Now go down to the bottom. You see that last little box that says prob peren? They give it a 33% chance of being perennial. That's based on the algorithm that these people who did stream stats put together, where they say, we will look at soils, we will look at topography, and we will try to make an equation where we can plug in the facts we do know and get a prediction of whether a stream is intermittent or perennial. So they have,
Isn't
that's,
this
yeah.
on the USGS map?
No, this is another map. It should be the second to last page of the letter.
I'm looking at the USGS.
No, don't, keep going, keep going.
No, I don't want to keep going.
All right.
Presumptively,
That's right. A blue line is like the first cut. A blue line says,
you got an uphill battle here, I'm telling you.
All right.
USGS says it's presumptively perennial.
Well-
You just described it as being a bubbling brook with a lot of force going through the wall.
yes, yes.
It's the headwaters of the Pine Tree Brook.
Well,
And you're
I-
telling me it's intermittent?
I did bring the actual DEP regulations. If you want me to read the definition, I
You
will.
don't have to.
All right.
Is it pertinent? Does it make a difference to you whether it's intermittent or
Well,
perennial?
I haven't, the strongest piece of evidence is whether anybody has ever seen it dry. Now, I haven't seen it dry, but I've heard from people in the area that they have seen it dry and it regularly dries up.
If you don't have pictures with a newspaper and it dry, you're going nowhere.
I've heard that in the summertime, there's no
Hearing is
water.
not enough. We've had a
Okay.
drought. DEP has declared a drought. There is no way you could convince me, I can't speak for anybody else, but there is no way you could convince me with a USGS map with a blue line that that's an intermittent stream.
I see. So you're using a definition based on the maps.
And your description, and the fact that you
Well,
haven't proved,
it's
it's
a cascading
presumptively perennial. And you have given us zero
Well, why is it
evidence that it's not.
presumptively? Because of the blue line?
Yes.
Well, I really have to look at this definition then.
Why
because
is it pertinent?
Why is
I'm
it
sorry,
pertinent?
why
Because this is-
why is it pertinent?
This is how DEP describes what's intermittent and perennial.
But irrelevant. Why is it pertinent to the discussion?
Project.
Because of the position of the property, it's irrelevant.
Aren't we trying to make a determination of what the character of the stream is?
Yeah.
I mean, but. the
But whether
legal-
it's intermittent or perennial isn't that irrelevant to the
No,
discussion?
it's relevant because if it's perennial, there's a different resource area involved. It's a 200-foot riverfront area.
Okay, granted,
Yeah,
it changes the
yeah,
resource area,
right.
but because of the position of the property and the conditions we're talking about, in either case, it has the exact same outcome, therefore, it's not pertinent.
Well, I see your point, because if it were if this were perennial and it is a riverfront area, the performance standards are different, but I think it would meet those performance standards as well. Is that what you were
Yes.
talking
Yeah,
about?
it's the same outcome, either way.
Okay.
It's irrelevant to the discussion.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, that's,
I mean, is there something I'm missing? Is there?
no,
if-
no,
if-
but, I looked at it pretty narrowly, but I think you have a good point. And certainly I'm relieved that you are saying we don't have to make this determination of perennial versus intermittent.
Yeah, we don't need to reach it. We don't-
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
pertinent.
Yeah.
Hey, let it play out, because. Let it play out, because
Oh, I know why.
we've
You
got
know
a few
why,
other
too.
applications.
well, we could talk
Up
about it a
and down
long
the
time,
street.
because.
Right, same
Yeah.
street,
Yeah,
same
Same street,
watershed.
same watershed.
Okay. I think your point is that The porch area, which is the area where there's new construction, is within the 25-foot. If it were an intermittent stream and you were talking about only edge of bank and 25 feet, it's still in the 25 feet.
Yes.
So it's in that area anyway, so whether it's intermittent or perennial, it's in an area that you normally protect. And that's why that's one of the reasons we're here. The other reason is there's other work going on that's within the 100 feet, so.
But the act only
And that's
detects
not new.
continuous and intermittent streams, downgrading of wetlands. The Milton bylaw makes no such distinction and protects all streams.
Well, this does have wetlands above, on the other side of Hillside Street. It does have, behind Bob Tampkin's house and going up toward Chickatawba Road, there are wetlands. And there's wetlands at the source on the other side of Chickatawba
Right.
Road, between Tucker and Boyce Hills.
Do you wanna, is this pertinent to you? Is this discussion pertinent to you?
It may be. I mean, if you don't care, but I'm not gonna accept any map that says that's an intermittent stream.
Okay.
Jurisdictionally, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But you're putting us in a very awkward position. We've got a very controversial project in the same street. And what we call streams,
Okay, I'm sorry. I agree with what you're saying, but whether or not it gets defined as, if we leave it undefined,
and we do that all the time.
I know, but that's what I'm saying, is that as a solution is acceptable. You don't need it to be defined as a perennial stream
And that's
in this
what we should do.
context in
Right,
order to
but-
proceed.
Right, but I would fight vigorously
Yes.
in this drought period, notwithstanding the.
No, I totally agree with
that
everything
we-
you're saying.
We should not declare this to be intermittent.
I agree. But on that note.
But you have to
we're
withdraw-
asking
you have to withdraw the
remove any
plan.
reference to
Yeah,
intermittent
and
perennial
I
from any
wouldn't have a
document.
problem with that. You
Okay.
know, I don't see any issue. I mean,
Call it a stream.
you're wrong.
Yeah,
but,
It was a time in a different setting,
Yeah,
Tom, you
right,
would have
yes.
said you're right.
Yeah, okay.
So as long as you strike any reference to perennial or intermittent, and
Okay.
it's a stream,
Yes,
and it's within our jurisdiction.
Right.
And
Right.
it
that
all
is fine
applies.
from our point of view.
Okay.
Yes,
We'll do
We-
it that way.
okay.
We would prefer to proceed that way.
So proceeding right along.
Yes, I
Yes.
hope you will go
Deep
to the
breath.
link in my report and get a look at the kind of critters that live in these streams.
Okay.
Yes.
I tried that and it didn't open.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. I have been to a stream like this when there's water in it and caught the critters and photographed them, and they're really very interesting. At any rate, within your jurisdiction, because the proposed work is not only within 100 feet, but some of it's within 25, and I believe this orange line is the 25-foot buffer, or the non-disturb zone. The work is, the footprint of the carriage house will be increased because this porch is gonna be built on the back. And work inside the carriage house, addition of a bathroom and bedroom, and the work that it's still not quite clear. I mean, we have a new plan, but the septic system will be redone to accommodate the flow from the bathroom in the carriage house. But it's not going to have a larger footprint, is that what I heard?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's
Yeah.
gonna be within the existing footprint, and obviously,
Yeah.
everything's underground anyway, all temporary disturbance.
I'm sorry we can't go there on Saturday to see this, or unless we shovel it out for you. Because,
No, you're not.
If you're up for that.
yeah,
We'd be happy to shovel.
this
That would
carriage
help move
house,
things along.
this carriage house is on a slope, and it slopes down steeply and back. And the area where the porch will be built, on this part, the part closer to the stream, is an old stone foundation. I don't know what it supported at one time. Over on this side, it slopes down abruptly to the lawn. So this is the area within the non-disturb zone that will be disturbed. The foundation is also going to be rebuilt on this side and this side. So there will be, I would say, 150 square feet, including the stairs, this area that is now open to the weather and will be covered. And that's a natural area that's being lost to construction, but I wouldn't quite call it natural, because it's a foundation and grass and a forsythia bush. So the argument I'm making in the context of that application is, yes, this is an area where you do not permit disturbance, but I think you can, in this case, vary your prohibition simply because I don't see any prospect of an adverse impact to the public interest associated with this stream, provided the work is done carefully. In other words, provided sediments do not get carried down this slope into the stream. I would say that is the main concern that would occur to me to prevent an adverse impact. I really don't see adverse impacts from the loss of this area of lawn and stones. Yes, there might be some recharge here. As I proposed in my letter, that recharge can be transferred to a French drain or rain garden here. There will be digging up along this corner of the foundation will be rebuilt. That has to be dug up, and it will be a little bit demanding to set up a silt barrier along here because of the slopes here. I think a final plan should show the drainage mitigation for construction and a drainage mitigation after. We don't have that yet. We hope to work that out with you. But we are really asking for to do something that you don't normally allow because we are in the non-disturb zone. I think when you come to look at the site, I think you will see that the work is not going to disturb the natural qualities that protect the stream as they are today. But my flags were 18-inch flags, and they are not going to be visible anytime real soon.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
And I don't know the topography.
Yeah.
So if the porch is here, can you put the porch here just as an alternatives analysis? And I don't know what the elevation looks like, but just if you take it out of here and put it there.
It would be on the slope. I mean, it would have to support it higher on this end, but I would ask Milton. I mean,
There's extensive landscaping on the side of the carriage house now. The clients,
Yeah.
where you're
Yeah, you walk
suggesting
through here.
relocating the porch, and the clients would strongly prefer not to disturb that. Also, the view to the back of the carriage house is really the beautiful feature of the house. So if they're creating a sunroom, the logic of it would be significantly diminished by putting it on the side of the house
But this is all landscaped right here, currently.
currently.
So they want to protect their lawn, but to take our non-disturb zone.
It's what it is it's a series of this sort of terraces. There's this fairly steep grade from in front of the garage to behind the garage or the barn. And so there's some stone terracing there. It's not, highly formal landscaping, but it's finished. The whole yard is disturbed in the sense that it's landscaped. And could be some of the plantings you might like to have taken out because some of them might be invasive species and things like that. But it's already landscaped. It's open. There's no large trees or anything like that. I would add to that answer, and correct me if I'm wrong, that because the owners are really, really interested in maintaining the architectural integrity of these two buildings, they probably would not want to put the porch on the side, understanding what your reasons and concerns might be for the location that they've proposed. So I think that they just don't want to put a porch on that side because it will change the architecture too much.
They don't
And
want to
it won't
change the
look
appearance
towards
of
the yard.
of either the house or the carriage house from the front elevation.
These are fairly small structures, and that's the problem with not being there and being able to see them as we talk, but
I'm
these
also
are small
not
Victorian.
100% sure we'd have the
There might not be enough
necessary
room.
separation between buildings
Yeah.
if we put the carriage house
It's-
on that side. It may end
This
up too
corner
close
here
to
is
the...
fairly close to this corner, but I think you could do it looking at the drawing, but it would be very close to the house. and-
One thing I would add too is with those grades between the driveway and the back of that foundation, you're gonna end up probably bringing in some type of fill in there. So I'd say you would get a little bit more disturbance in that buffer as opposed to out the back where it's more level, where it's proposed now.
Do you want us to give you a, you know, a short narrative for that, though, as an alternative?
Yes,
Just, yeah,
please.
okay, we can do that.
As currently proposed, is the, I'll call it the backside of the porch, is that up on stilts?
What would the foundation of the porch
It would be a full foundation,
It's a full foundation for that porch? Oh,
yes. It would be a fieldstone foundation to match the rest of the foundation on the carriage house.
understood.
So as I understand what you just said, the entire site is, it's either plantings or it's lawn, right up to the stream.
When you get close to the stream, it's all rock, I think. What do you say, John?
Ellen
Nothing.
obviously never cut a tree down. So
That is
all,
Yeah.
all along here, you have a canopy of large trees, including snags, which are great habitat. They are white ash and sugar maple all the way down here. And between the stream and the house and the driveway, nobody's done much maintenance, so forsythia is spread through here. It's kind of leggy, it doesn't look very good. But as you come around here, suddenly there's a plunge pool. Somebody dammed the stream here by piling up rocks and made a nice little waterfall and pool where it actually goes over a ledge. This is bedrock here it's going over. Then it gets braided as it comes down here, as it runs over the rock. And this area here, I would say, from the back of the carriage house back to the stream margin, it's lawn all the way to the stream edge. And that's why I propose perhaps doing some plantings along the stream edge here to shade it.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Definitely makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's been lawn, but what a wonderful place to live, to have this bubbling stream right through your backyard, coming right out of the Blue Hills. It's just beautiful.
Bubbling
Bubbling
perennial
perennial
stream.
No, bubbling perennial, not say. But you will love this plunge pool and waterfall when we get to see it.
The architectural drawings that are in the set, that are at this size, aren't clear enough to evaluate.
Yeah, we
I-
brought.
I have
some
a
for you.
full-size set.
Okay.
And
If that would be helpful
I
to
have
you.
a better print that I'll give you now, but I didn't.
If you
that's
could
not-
actually send me those
prints
as a
were
PDF,
horrible.
that would be
Yeah.
great.
Okay.
If you could give Kathy the drawings.
So that we'll have them in the office.
I just want to.
So a PDF is fine, you don't need a hard
PDF is
copy.
fine, that's
Okay.
correct.
You described the project to me,
Yes. We,
on your plan,
pardon?
on your plans.
On the plans, yes.
You want to put them up on the board, or is that too much?
I can try, they're gonna try to curl back on me. I'll help you.
Can I ask you, do you accept application documents normally
Change page.
electronically? Because plans are much easier to look at that way because you can enlarge them. Do you accept them that way?
Kathy's the boss.
Usually, no, we
Well,
want
some
live
of us-
ones in the folder, just if someone comes in the public to read this, then they want to take them out.
But do you want an applicant to send you an electronic set of the documents?
In addition to, that
Would
would be
you like
great.
that?
Yes, that would be
Yeah.
good.
Okay,
Because it's easier then for us to show.
sure. I just didn't know. Okay.
Distribution becomes simple.
We never actually discussed that, whether, discussed it.
I understand that you need plans.
We,
in the
we can
office.
get plans separately,
Some of
as
us
long as
are
we don't
electronically challenged.
Yeah,
get
so
together for the
both
open
ways.
meeting law.
Can't shut off
But we
a
can
cell
have
phone.
a distribution of information.
No, but
I
individually.
understand.
all
I'm
the
that way.
plans be submitted through email rather than
Well,
publicly packets.
then you'd have to print something at
Yeah,
the
then I'd
office.
have
You
to
don't want to
print
do
it,
that.
You don't want to do that, okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you want these
Stealing
plans
right
that they're
tonight,
providing as drawings? I don't, doesn't make a difference to
Whatever
me.
it is.
I'll print them whatever size I want, but
Huh?
to you.
See, I eventually want them in hard copy.
I
So
think
he
we're
needs
going to
hard copy.
provide a copy for the office, one copy, and we will send you the PDF so that you can look at them if you want to on your computer and enlarge them right on the screen, which sometimes is a nice way to look at them.
Or do you
Send me
want
a
to print a
hard
copy
copy,
for your
please.
file,
I
for your
want
use?
I want a printed copy, but I can get that from Kathy.
But, okay.
Okay, can we tell me what we're doing?
Yes, so right now we have a completely unfinished structure. So the overall idea is to finish it, turn it into living space. Modifications to the structure will be a shed dormer across the back to gain some headroom on the inside, and then this proposed porch all soft. So this is the rear elevation that's shown.
And what is the size of the porch?
It's roughly 8 by 13.
Okay,
And we will give you the exact dimensions.
okay.
But that proposed porch has a full foundation under it.
That's the proposal, yes.
Walkable foundation, so you can stand up underneath it?
That hasn't been determined.
You're showing it
the-
as stone. Is it stone to match the rest of the carriage house?
Yeah, so in practice, it'll be probably poured concrete with a fieldstone veneer. The elevation here, the grade here is quite high, so there wouldn't be any headroom there. I think we simply haven't decided what,
But programmatically,
yes, sir.
what you're describing to me is, it's a foundation,
Yes,
but there's not a requirement that you walk through the foundation.
correct.
You're not using the foundation.
We're not planning to use it for storage. We're going to
So there's
maintain
no
the space
real
under the.
reason why we need a 8-foot-high concrete foundation. We could build it on piers and decrease the amount of disturbance of the no-build zone.
And you mentioned that
Right, John?
the left-hand wall in this drawing that we can't see is an existing wall. Are you planning on reusing that existing wall, or you're planning on tearing that down?
You mean under the proposed porch?
Yes. The left-hand wall, as I understand it in this drawing,
There's no existing wall. There's some sort of built-up surface with the remnants of some brickwork.
so it's,
I'm not sure that there's a wall.
you don't think there's anything?
I don't think there's anything there, yeah. There's currently a door out of the back of the garage right there.
Yeah.
So there's a little landing space that you can step out to.
Yeah.
I don't think there was ever a structure there.
Oh, you don't, okay, that's what.
I don't believe so, yeah. I think it was probably built up earth with some brick,
Just to make a landing.
just to make a landing
Just make-
pad, yeah. There's no suggestion that there was any kind of structure there before. So this is front elevation. The only real visible change is the sliding barn door currently is running on a track inside the building. We're going to move it to the outside of the building. We're going to be replacing windows and doors to meet current energy codes, but maintaining the appearance.
So the sliding barn door will be insulated?
That won't be, because that's only giving access to the garage portion, which will be an unconditioned part of the building. So the conditioned envelope will be
Okay.
to the side of the left half of the first floor, and then the entire second floor. And we're moving the garage door to the outside to make it easier to condition the conditioned parts.
So underneath the garage door, is there a full foundation under that? Is this whole garage is gonna have a new foundation, or just with the porches?
Right now, there is a foundation, existing foundation on the front. There's an existing foundation on the right side. There is a foundation halfway down on the left side. It ends about here. There's a stone pier here, there's a stone pier here, and there's currently no foundation under the back. There are, again, a couple of stone piers. So the project would involve filling in this part of the foundation on the right side of the building and building new foundation at the back of the building where there is none now. Depending on whether we build the porch or not, that the porch may or may not be part of that foundation structure. And how much detail do you want me to go into about the interior work?
No, not the interior. I'm more concerned about the foundation and whether we can bifurcate the concrete foundation from the field stone, or whether we can rebuild the piers, so we're doing less disturbance in a non-disturbed area.
The existing piers are spectacularly structurally inadequate. They're tapered stone piers ending in a rock about this big, and the structural engineer who visited the site was afraid to go underneath. So there's a glaring structural inadequacy right now.
Yeah, but when you go do your work, is
Yes.
whether we can do something that has less of an impact on the environment than putting
The
an.
building code requires a continuous foundation under living space. So I don't think we would be
I don't
permitted.
think so.
You're talking
You
about
wouldn't have
porch
half the
now, or the
building-
main?
You wouldn't have half the buildings in Marshfield if that statement were true. Because buildings in Marshfield and other coastal locations are built upon piers. Right?
Point?
That is in the flood zone, but this is outside of the flood zone, in Zone A.
I think when there isn't a flood consideration,
it's a
a
velocity
continuous
zone.
foundation is required.
Okay, we'll check it.
Certainly, the porch would, I don't think would require, I don't think that's intended to be conditioned space, so that the continuous foundation around the porch was an aesthetic choice on the part of the owners. I think that could be on piers.
I would say myself that the area where the porch is now going doesn't really contribute to the public interest associated with the stream, as far as I can tell, because there's no real connection. Doesn't drain toward it, it's either ledge or lawn. So it's true that would be covered up, but I don't really see how it harms the interest if it is. Although it does impinge on the no disturb zone.
But does that area under the porch now contribute to an active buffer if it's underneath the porch and covered like that? I mean, does it provide any food cover or any type of vegetation that really enhances that buffer area? I mean, I think the answer on that's kind of a no, right off the top. You know, you're not gonna get
That
a,
was my point.
right.
So what other information can I give
That's
you?
it?
Actually, could you flip to could you flip to the next page where it shows the proposed plan?
Yes.
So when we were talking about moving the porch to the left-hand side,
Yes.
and I understand the comments relative to that, both in terms of the aesthetics of maintaining what it looks like now,
Yes.
as well as the plantings that are currently there, and the fact
Yes.
that it's currently lawn behind.
Yes.
In the context of trying to minimize the excavation, any work that would be done, and minimize or maximize the dimension from any work to be done to the stream,
Yes.
is there an option to slide that porch as far to the left as possible that would minimize the excavation that's gonna have to occur along the right-hand edge? Therefore, at that point, you're still behind the house, let's move it to the left.
So you're saying sliding it
Yeah,
all the
slide
way?
it as far to the left, or,